see Themyscira still as pretty as ever. Would live 10 out of 10. I enjoy that all these insane feats aren't just everyday occurrences. It seems to be like Themyscira's Olympics. Very small and self-contained Olympics. Or how about American Gladiators? Remember that show? That totally original one, like all American television? But my point is that the crowd is excited and enthralled, so not every Amazonian is a superwoman. They obviously have their athletes. Although while they may not all be peak performance athletes, there doesn't appear to be an unattractive Amazonian anywhere. Granted, the competitors seem to all be supermodels, so what do I know? Some sweet snowy cam action with the camera stuck to either side of the seesaw thing to get us started. Also, Themyscira apparently invented Quidditch. She creates a wake like a motor when she swims. I like how hitting your color target is barely part of the challenge, it just lets the crowd know who's in the lead. Okay, maybe some of them are part of the challenge.
You took the short path. You cheated, Diana.
There's a lesson in this movie about the difference between doing things your own way, like Diana does when she ducks under the battering ram, and taking shortcuts, like when she loses her horse. Diana's run through the competition is the setup for that theme.
One day, you'll become all that you dream of and more, and everything will be different.
Yeah, but something tells me you don't know how different. You just found out the Princess Bride was training her, and you're about to lie to her about what is and isn't a god killer. Probably pretty lame that the queen is sitting with her daughter rather than congratulating the victors, but also a sweet display of her priorities. Hey, look at that aspect ratio shifting. I guess the Amazons want you to see as much as possible at all times, so they give us this IMAX 1:4:3, which really makes sense to capture the awe of the arena. And now we're transitioning to 2:3:9. Oh my gosh, does Wanda Maximoff control the Wonder Woman universe? Are we still in WandaVision?
Welcome to the future.
Ah, right, because it's definitely Diana's future, even her future from the first movie in World War I. And man, did people in the mid-80s truly believe they were living in the future. Materialism will do that to you. Whereas from the 2020s, we know we're not in the future because we know the 80s lied to us, and I still don't have a hoverboard. And speaking of the 80s, where poor exercise enthusiasts get comedically yanked off screen just for appreciating good form, the same reason Eric Pride's Call on Me video has 20 million views.
You don't need a pile of money or some business degree to get started. You don't even have to work hard for it.
That was the main lesson we learned from Fire Festival. We saw an Amazonian do this with ease.
I'm not going back!
Another lesson learned, do not hire ex-convicts for your heists. They will screw everything up. But I love that even the bad guys agree. It's a bad move. Saving the cat, I mean, helpless little blonde girl. Ooh, some quick, softer phrases from her main theme. No, look, double lasso. I really don't get tired of seeing Diana glide along the ground at high speeds, future scenes notwithstanding. Look, if you want to start saying that Diana just murdered those guys, I think you're forgetting how much strength and control she has. This kick should shatter the guy's leg, right? Broken wrist bones? Not if you know just the right amount of force. Same goes for dropping them from just the right height. 4 guys, at least 600 pounds, with any amount of force are gonna crush a car roof.
Who is this woman? And where did she come from?
Would you say you wonder about that? Come on, there's really no room for those. This is a 2.5-hour movie. Cut it out. Hey, good for her. She did get involved in World War II. She must have just slept through the whole Hitler thing. Also, there's Etta, and then an aged up Etta from later on. And fun fact, that's actually Lucy Davis in old lady makeup.
Right.
Have a nice day.
Those are cool. I like those. Animal print.
When your entire identity is shaped by a 3-second interaction that only took place because your idol randomly wore leopard print pumps. I just wanted to say pumps. I don't know if these are actually pumps. Even after reading and trying to figure out the difference, women's fashion is an enigma. You really don't get enough credit. Julia says there's stilettos, but there were no stilettos in the 80s, so I don't know.
Maybe it's like a lucky charm or something?
I really wish I had a coffee.
Nothing for free from a monkey's paw or dreamstone, even if it's just a burnt tongue.
Ooh, hot.
You just seem like you'd be really popular.
Flirting?
Have you ever been in love?
Yeah. A long, long time ago. You?
So many times. Yeah. All the time.
Honesty. Starting to think Barbara doesn't even like cats that much. She was just a casualty of unfortunate objects surrounding her. Resourcefulness. Honestly love that her first hot girl transformation is just repurposing what she was already wearing. She even keeps the glasses, since glasses never made any girls less hot. But for the record, that's the point here, poking fun at these tropes. More on that later.
Barbara, thank God you're good in heels.
Life is good, but it can be better.
Whether you like The Mandalorian or Oberyn or Pena or not, it would be silly to pretend like Pedro doesn't have some seriously impressive range.
It's going to be an amazing party. I hope you have something nice to wear.
Ah, that eye roll under her eyelids. That's talent. I gotta say, that logo is pretty inventive, in a garish way.
You are going to be so proud to be my son.
Okay.
Hugging. For real, this kid is the standout in the entire movie, and the Maxwell story barely works without him. Lucian Perez, folks. The lyrics make perfect sense anyway, but either way, I gotta give them credit for using a different Frankie Goes to Hollywood song.
Hey there, beautiful.
No, thank you.
Politeness.
I wish we had more time.
That's definitely Chris Pine's voice, right? Just making sure because it's so seamless. And that was definitely done in camera with a body double guy stepping out and Chris Pine stepping in. But look at Gal's focus, she never moves her eyes. And I know that some people were upset because they believe Christopher Palaha is better looking than Chris Pine, and who could blame Julia for preferring Jason Matthews from North Shore? Still, hugging.
I remember taking the plane up, and then nothing, really. But somehow I know I've been someplace since then, someplace that's, I can't really put words to it, but it's good.
Most diplomatic, non-committal statement about the afterlife ever. Credit where credit is due.
He's great, but all I see is you.
Obviously, demigods are allowed such reality-shifting liberties.
I wish to be you, the dream stone itself.
Lucky for Max, the stone has the power of perception and knows he doesn't mean the literal stone. And honestly, if I'm a sentient stone that's powered by a jerk god who really loves destroying civilization, I'm definitely turning into a human because he can probably collapse the world in a few days rather than months. This is the most roundabout way for anyone to find out about Diana's superpowers, and I'm here for it. Kristen Wiig's workout routine. Literally.
I wished that black gold would change the world for all of us. Of course I wish that too.
And speaking of interesting takes on cliches, actually allowing the villain to use a goofy loophole like this is fun. But I also refer you to the sentient rock that wants to kill all humans.
All this.
Yeah,
He can't stop tucking in his shirt.
Pockets in this. There are pockets here, there are pockets all over the pant.
Pockets are a top priority for men, mostly dads. But there's a lot of dad energy in this outfit montage, which as I'm saying it, I'm realizing is a callback to the first movie. Of all the cliches in time displacement movies, the modern technology, especially escalators scare me trope, has always been the most unbelievable to me. Maybe it's because tech advances so fast now, but if I landed in the future and I saw a bunch of people on like floating platforms gliding across water or something equally magical to my eyes, the mere fact that everyone was doing it would make me feel safe. That said, I have a hard time correctly ordering food at Chipotle, so we all have our issues.
That's just a trash can.
It's just a trash can. Yeah.
He's not disgusted by the punks like a turn-of-the-century old guy would be. He's enthralled.
Tell me again, you wish you had more help?
Yes, I wish I had more help.
That's lame. Although I guess I give him credit for not taking anything from her.
so funny. All this reading seems to have cured my eyesight somehow.
Haha, trope box checked.
Maxwell Lord came by to visit, which was actually pretty great. I'll tell you about it later.
It actually hurts my heart a bit that she still thinks they're friends and Diana's all about the mission now, saving the world or whatever.
Like your pants very much.
Compliments. Yeah, that's what happens when you only have one action scene in the first hour and a half of the movie. You get rusty. See, believable reasons for everything. It has nothing to do with the, monkey's paw wish thing and her losing her powers.
Like my lasso. The truth is what powers it, not me. But what is this?
Brought me back, love or, hope.
Optimism. Good thing Lex Luthor created that never-expiring jet fuel, or I had a friend fuel up all the planes right before we got here, or my truth lasso on the dash will be plenty of an energy source for this jet. All would have been fine options to explain why a display piece jet at the Smithsonian fired right up. Slash, it was the 80s and we had a different outlook on air traffic safety, and jet fuel actually lasts for 6 months, longer than gasoline, and if they're flying this thing often enough, it's possible it would be fueled up. There are 2 wolves inside. But with that said, the invisible jet is awesome, and Patty Jenkins found a not lame way for Wonder Woman to have an invisible jet. I mean, that alone is impressive, because, come on. This is a long movie. You might wonder why we're spending time on this, and to that I say, because it's really pretty. Stop being so cynical.
Hey, babe, where are you going?
No thanks.
Ha, she's more like Diana than she even realizes.
Hey there, beautiful.
No, thank you.
I mean, rough, but also comeuppance. Sorry, not a lot of sympathy for attempted assaulters.
I could do this. Oh,
Night!
And you could definitely say they're jamming in the street. And also it was a pop song that came out the year before, and also Lionel would play it at the '84 Olympics in about a month. And a pretty epic orchestral motif for Cheetah. But more importantly, I do not get tired of the Wonder Woman theme. Catching a bullet is not a thing I knew was possible with the lasso of truth, but I'm happy it is. Door surfing. pretty solid yup. At least he can still appreciate talent. This movie goes back and forth between Diana looking so present in the scene and other times not. But I'm giving credit for the times it works. Saving your girlfriend from beyond the grave so that she can almost murder these kids. Goodness gracious, Diana. Still, she saves them. Gonna refer to that earlier win about knowing just the right amount of force and cushion to protect their tiny little skulls. Ingenuity. Steve was totally on board with.
The monkey's paw.
I mean, sort of, but the cause and effect is a little less tied together, which actually makes sense when you realize it's just a trickster god trying to collapse human civilizations.
Their civilizations collapsed catastrophically, without a trace as to why.
I just wish I could be with you.
No! Don't you see that my greatness is your greatness?
Then I wish for your greatness.
No.
Well, that'll rip your guts out. Too pure. Children are too pure for the 80s.
Have I asked for your wish before? Yesterday. A Porsche.
Correct pronunciation of Porsche.
And there are Porsches racing up and down the street.
Porsche.
Why, for once, can't I just have this one thing?
Something about truth and shortcuts. I don't know. You'll figure it out later.
What is there to wish for but more? More nuclear weapons, more than they have. Closer to them.
What a perfect encapsulation of the human condition. Any wish, on the brink of war, not peace, more weapons.
Well, aren't you resourceful?
No, that's resourcefulness. And another lasso/bullet related skill I didn't know she had, but I'm happy to see she does.
That's neat.
Every obstacle is just an opportunity to learn something new.
I just learned that.
Yeah, man, ejects around and fires it with her gauntlet? Come on. Cheetah, always with the animal prints. Also love the animalistic motif that Cheetah gets every time she throws someone across the room. Which I just finally realized is actually a bastardization of the Wonder Woman theme. It's the same notes, which makes perfect sense since she wanted to be like Diana. Saving a bunch of soft, fleshy humans.
Yes, you're strong, but what did you lose, Barbara?
What? Just like glasses and care for other living things. Oh, that's what you're talking about.
Forget about me.
What is it costing you?
So, in the beginning, I really couldn't understand why they seemed to extra glam up Diana to the point that it was distracting, other than it just being the 80s. But now I understand it was an attempt to show some contrast. Bloody face, dark circles under her eyes, and maybe just the slightest frizz to her hair. Moral of the story is that it's really hard to make Gal Gadot look bad.
I'll never love again.
Wow, do I believe every word out of her mouth in this scene, and it's pretty heart-wrenching.
I'll always love you, Diana.
It's just a perfectly executed scene. The kiss, her abrupt turn, and his voice fading as she walks away. Also, the camera operator spins the opposite direction around them as when Steve appeared. And the second she does it, you can see her wounds heal, her dark circles are gone, and all the color comes back into her face.
It's easy.
Honestly, the second I heard that low E, I knew we were getting Adagio in D minor, and I had a split second of, hold up. And then I realized that this is what Kaneda would have wanted. A woman learning to fly after making a sacrifice, just like he sacrificed himself to save Cillian Murphy. I'm just never gonna be upset hearing this piece. It will never not be a win, is what I'm saying. And some very iconic flying with her arm down like that. I also feel that immediately getting powers back after that rush of emotion from losing Steve again would be like a jump starter letting her truly unlock her power, especially when it's flight, the thing that lets her connect to Steve.
The one thing that's always been new to me.
What?
Flight.
I want to be number one, an apex predator.
Humans suck at wishes, always so in the box. All Jafar had to do was say any all-powerful being other than Genie. And you wish to be the number one apex predator, but number one out of whom? Things from Earth? Because Diana ain't really of Earth, so technically I think you should have leaned more into being like Diana. But hey, to each their own. Look at those furry stripes. Japan has rooftop soccer pitches? And hey, we know where Diana got the idea to lasso stuff to keep double jumping like Mario. Granted, lightning, spear, we can't all be Zeus's offspring. Yup, hard yup. Her theme, the gauntlet's finally working again. Yuppity yup yup. There's a definite bird against cat thing here, and we all know how that usually goes, so technically getting rid of the wings was a smart move. And if you're wondering why Wonder Woman doesn't seem to be fighting, it's because this entire time she's still trying to reach Barbara. Even now that she is fighting her, she grabs her where a mother cat would grab her kitten by the scruff of the neck. And see, cats definitely don't like water, but birds are screwed in water. No wings.
Then I'm so sorry.
And it also makes sense that the electricity wouldn't harm her, since Diana is the lightning god's kid. This is interesting because with millions of wishes coming in at once, Max can take from them whatever he wants, and since every time he does, the wind blows, there would be a lot of wind to keep Diana away.
The truth is beautiful.
The Junkie XL and Zimmer's BVS theme, Beautiful Lie. This actually makes me sad that the DCEU is mostly dead.
You must be the hero. I wasn't talking to you.
Ooh, a twist. A quick twist, but a twist. I actually like that there's a moment of, what? No, forget him. Don't you dare let Max be the hero here. The message that truth is the only thing that matters and you can't take shortcuts to get what you desire would be totally appropriate for today, but there's something about setting it in the 80s that makes it work even better since it was the decade of excess and materialism.
Because you're not the only one who has suffered, who doesn't want to be afraid anymore, or alone.
And you might be thinking, whoa, Barbara wishing to have friends is cheating? And look, I'll admit that this is lost in here a bit, but Barbara didn't need the wish to make friends. Diana was her friend. The false adoration she got after her wish wasn't real or meaningful, so while wishing for a better life makes sense, taking a shortcut to get it will always have consequences, and it's ultimately not what you need. Barbara's gift was compassion, and she lost it so she could swing around as a cat lady.
You're not the only one who imagined a world where everything was different.
And you may say she's a dreamer, but she's not the only one.
I renounce my wish!
So it's sweet that we get to see a bunch of people renouncing their wishes as some human race solidarity, but in case you're worried about that one person who fell asleep after making their wish and missed all the hubbub, Max renouncing his wish undoes all their wishes since they would have been wishing to nothing if he's not the Dreamstone, right? It would be nice if we could have a ruling from Elizabeth Hurley or Brendan Fraser. You don't get to use that cute kid in the father-son relationship against me, you sons of, apparently an abusive father?
Because I'm nothing to be proud of, Alistair.
I don't need you to make me proud. I already love you, Daddy.
Sorry, couldn't hear him over my sobbing. What did he say? Patty Jenkins' son is lucky he's messing with the nicest demigod.
I like your outfit.
Ah, it's the one she picked out for Steve. I guess she's really over him, huh? Now she can share her men's fashion taste with this poor sexual assault victim. And a bookend of Diana longingly staring at the sky like she was before, but this time letting it go, even if she's still always going to be reminded of Steve when she looks up.
You have to let me thank you, miss.
Asteria.
The OG. Love the way she waves her arm as if she's about to do her twirl to transform into Wonder Woman. It seems like reactions were mixed on this one, so nothing new for DC. I think my biggest issue is that there are very few consequences for anyone in the entire movie except for Diana, I suppose, since she had to give up Steve. But in the end, everyone renouncing their wishes doesn't really save the day. No one had to make any hard choices. All the bad stuff had been set in motion already. The nukes were in the air. Once they started renouncing, the nukes fell out of the air. You'd have to be an idiot to not renounce your nuke-related wish once the nukes had been launched. I guess you could make the argument that the Americans didn't know if the Russians would renounce their nuke wishes, but honestly the whole, oh, they launched nukes, let's also launch nukes to make sure we end humanity is so dumb. It's the dumbest and most extreme eye for an eye. Death for a death. Everybody loses, yay! Anyway, yeah, even after Electro drowning Cheetah, she's good. Max just about destroyed the world and he gets to go hug his son. Look, I'm all for happy endings, but someone's gotta pay. Seems like Egypt might have some problems post-wish reversal. But it's not the biggest deal. I still like the message that you can't take shortcuts to get the things you want. Like I said, it was a perfect message to the 80s. And because of that, I don't feel that the 80s were just window dressing for one scene at a mall. It felt like an 80s story right down to some of the deliberate tropes. The performances from Pedro Pascal and Kristen Wiig were phenomenal, and Gal Gadot also had some fantastic moments that I don't remember getting in the first movie. Chris Pine was so good they had to steal a dude's body to bring him back. What are you gonna do? Most of the action was expertly crafted. A few CGI moments stick out as a little off, but nothing too distracting. It's probably too long. There's a tight 90 to 120 minute even movie in there that brings it all home a little faster, but also doesn't rush through the moments after the wishes. It partly feels more disconnected from the DCEU than the other films, but that makes sense since no one really knows what's going on with it beyond them getting a Wonder Woman sequel. I'm still into the Wonder Woman world at the very least, and will always be excited to see what Patty and Gal do going forward. Maybe Steve Trevor's great-great-grandson will show up played by Chris Pine, we can hope. Next week, an obscure one, hopefully, just gonna entice you with, yeah, that's right, shirtless Chris Hemsworth. Teaser frame taking on a whole new meaning this week, because I worry that it's too obscure. It's called A Perfect Getaway, you should watch it. But also now is probably as good a time as any to say that the publishing schedule for the next few months is gonna be a little loosey-goosey. Julia's entering the last few weeks of pregnancy, which means I'm trying to be more helpful in general, but also I'll have a newborn soon, which, you know, might change things a bit for a while, at least. So thank you for sticking with me and understanding. Worst case, with everything coming to Disney Plus and HBO Max, I can do some 60-second reviews.
I guess some things are just future-proof. Strange pillow bed with slats.
A futon, yeah.
A futon.
Yeah.
Would you like to see my futon?